This is Art with Miss Teresa, and I'm really glad that you get to join us today. So today we're going to be coloring and cutting snowflakes, which means that you need to have paper, a pencil, some crayons or markers, scissors, and if you need help with your scissors, a grown-up. Okay, so I'm going to have the instructions right here so that at all times, so that if you want to work ahead and make a whole bunch of them, you can. It's up to you. So we're going to start with rectangle paper. And to make it into a square, I'm going to fold it over into a big triangle and fold it down the middle. So until you're ready to actually fold it and make it as perfect as you can, it doesn't really matter. Art is just for fun. Okay. I'm going to practice with you on your scissors. I'm going to stick my thumb in the little part and stick my fingers in the bigger part. And make sure my fingers are out of the way. Going to cut along the triangle's edge. And remember, a triangle has 3 sides. So we got 1, 2, 3. What we're going to do with this piece of paper is we're going to practice our cutting. So if you can hold one side of the paper with one hand and just cut across. Just so you get a good feel for your scissors. I'm going to be switching over to grown-up scissors in a little bit because it's easier for me because my hands are grown-up size. Okay. Also, if you want to practice cutting not quite to the edge, so that this is going to be really important when we start cutting our snowflakes. And it kind of looks like hair, like on a toothbrush. See? So other neat things you can do with it, if you want to, is you can curl it. And it looks like hair. Okay. So keep on practicing. Now that we have our triangle, and we're going to fold it back into a square, which has 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now this is even. What I would like to do is we're going to be coloring before we start cutting any further. So it doesn't really matter what designs you want to put on here, but remember that after you're cutting, there's going to be spaces inside your art. I'm going to make circles. Okay, so I'm going to get purple, blue, and it's kind of neat if they get to overlap, but come up with your own thing. Okay, so I'm going to use red. And orange. So what I'm doing right now is just kind of outlining what I want to color. And then I'll color it in just a minute. And I suggest you use, if you want to use watercolors, you can, but you have to let it dry before you get to the next step. Markers might make the paper a little smushy. Crayons are really cool to use. Okay, so you can do half circles too if you want to. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go and color in my circles. What's your favorite color? I go through phases of what mine is. Sometimes I really just like wearing a lot of black. Sometimes I like to wear color, but I like blue. My car is even blue.
I like that color too. That looks like a teal, Miss Teresa.
I think you're right. It says blue-green.
Neat.
Okay, so this one is purple. But it looks pretty cool because then you can see the other colors coming out. And the reason why we're going to color on one side is so that we know which way to fold. Okay. And I really like snowflakes. The cool thing about snowflakes is that when lots and lots and lots of them fall to the ground, it just becomes snow. But there are no two snowflakes that are the same. Kind of like there's no two kids that are the same, which makes you very, very special and unique. And real snowflakes have 6 points, which means that they look exactly the same in their design in all 6 areas. I think that's kind of neat. When it's snowing outside, I really like drinking hot chocolate. And sometimes we put marshmallows in it. And sometimes it's fun to put other flavoring in it, like peppermint. But after playing outside all day, it's kind of a fun way to relax. And so keep on going with your art. You can do any shape you want to. You can put letters if you want to, but just remember that when you're cutting, some of it's going to disappear. But try to get as much coverage as you can because it'll look really neat in the end. And
They almost look like balloons.
they do kind of look like balloons. But did you know that in cold weather, balloons actually deflate, which means that they start to sink if they have what's called helium inside them. And then when they get all warmed back up, they start to rise again. It's kind of neat. There's actually 2 different kinds of balloons that most people will buy. One is made out of something called latex, which I am allergic to, and one that's called mylar. And that's the kind that's all shiny. Sometimes you'll see them, the really, really shiny balloons. So they're just made out of a different material. And lots of people have different allergies. So it's kind of nice that there's options. But when I do cleaning and stuff, I have to wear special gloves just to make sure that my hands are safe. Okay. It's coming along. So I'm going to fill up the rest of the gaps just with a dark color, just so you can see them. And I really hope that when you do art, that you find it really relaxing. There are some times that you get frustrated because sometimes instructions are hard to follow or it doesn't look quite like you thought it would. But that's okay because it's just fun to create. And there's no wrong way to do it. So I'm going to show you the instructions from a website that I found so that you can follow along with me. But if the folding gets a little too hard, it is completely okay because every snowflake is unique, just like you. Okay, so I'm almost finished with my coloring. If you need to pause to finish up with yours, that's fine too. Okay. does kind of look like a circus, doesn't it? Have you ever been to a circus? Sometimes you see people perform things that are pretty amazing, but they've been practicing for a very, very long time. And sometimes they have popcorn. And my dad used to bring me to the circus when they were in town, and that was always really good memories. Okay. So I am done with my coloring. The next step, okay. Can you see that pretty well? Okay. So it says start off with a square piece of paper, preferably thin and lightweight paper, which is kind of like computer paper or drawing paper. You can use square origami paper. And origami is this really cool folding thing. And I'll wear my origami headband next time, where you can make animals and all sorts of really cool stuff. So you follow these easy steps for making a square from a rectangle from a piece of paper. So that's where we get our fold. Okay. So we take it from a square to a triangle. Okay. Okay. Fold the square diagonally, which is crossway, in half and come up with a triangle. So we should be there already. And then this time we're going to fold again. Okay. So we're going to take this and fold it this way. And then we're going to crease it so that there's a nice good line. Okay. Then, okay. So this is a step that we're going to do on the second time around, which is a little bit harder than what we're doing now. Okay, so we're going to save this one for later. And then we're going to fold it again. Okay, so it should look like a smaller triangle. Okay. And you're going to see parts that open up, kind of like a book. And then you're going to see parts that don't. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold on to the parts that open up. And we're going to be cutting along here. Okay, but we're not going to cut all the way across like we did on our practice sheet. We're only going to cut part of the way. Okay, so got to grab my big people scissors. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of cut triangles out, but again, not all the way across. Okay. Okay. And then I'm going to cut so it goes all the way, and then I'm going to pull it out. And then I'd like to make a more interesting pattern. So just make sure your fingers are not in your way. I'm going to do the same thing. Okay. All right. So it kind of looks like one of those apple fritters or some kind of pastry that has a kind of layering. Okay. So now I'm going to open it up. And here's my snowflake. So we have kind of our original design, but it just makes it more interesting. So that's our first one. And remember, all the paper that gets left over, make sure it gets into recycling. Or if it's interesting colors, you might want to save it for another project in a box, but make sure your art supplies are always organized because that can get messy really fast.
Miss Teresa, can you hold that one up and I'll show it on the camera real close?
Sure.
That looks so pretty. Oh, nice.
Yeah. So what you can do too is if you have a hole puncher, or actually I can show you how to do that. If you want to cut a tiny little triangle in the back, then you have a hole, and you could put a piece of string on it, and then you can hang it from the ceiling. So I think that that would be a lot of fun. Or you can put it with magnets on your fridge at home. Or if you want to, you can fold it back up so it stays nice and safe for something later. So I wanted to show you guys some of the ones I was practice cutting earlier. Now I didn't color these, so they might be a little harder to see. Isn't that pretty? And once I got the hang of it, I was just cranking them out, because when it snows, it doesn't snow just one snowflake. It snows lots of them. And if you would like to have more elaborate designs, which means a little harder to do, go to this website and you can get the directions, and you can continue this project on your own time. But I had a lot of fun, so see you next time. And remember, you're going to be needing crayons or markers, paper, a ruler, and scissors for our next project.
I'm Denise Dillenbeck, concertmaster of the Northwest Sinfonietta, and I'm here to share a moment of music and breath with you today. Let's take a moment to get centered together before we listen to music. Put one hand on your heart and the other on your belly. Now breathe in for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hold your breath at the top for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that together one more time. Feel free to close your eyes if you'd like. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. We are living through turbulent times. If you sometimes feel the sadness during all the challenges of this school year, you are not alone. When I'm sad, I turn to music to give my heart a lift. This piece by J.S. Bach is one of the happiest pieces I know. I first heard it on Sesame Street when I was a little girl, and it made me want to play the violin. It's called Gavotte en Rondo, and it's a dance music from Bach's time. If I were to think of words to describe how this music makes me feel, I would say jaunty and joyous. Now you try to think of a word that describes the feeling of the music while I play it for you. If you have room around you, you can also try making your own dance to this music. See what feels right to you.
Good day, young aviators. Did you know that we live in an amazing state? Not only is Washington famous for its spectacular scenery, but did you know that Washington State is famous for making airplanes? So today, we will be using our arms' muscular strength to fly around Washington State and see how beautiful it is. All you have to do is put your arms out when the bald eagle takes off from her totem pole and keep them flapping until she makes it back to her totem pole safely. Now, your arms might get a little tired, but that's okay. That's how we build our muscular endurance. Don't stop flapping until you land. Have a great flight.
Hey kids, we want to see your work. Just send your pictures and your stories to TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.